Okay, I'm back today to sharpen my 50 tooth blade. This one was slightly different setup. You can tell here this blade for the ratchet over here, it actually does work out. The ratchet's gonna ratchet to each one of these, but if you notice, it got a slightly different design there, but it turns out that it still allows me to come in and sharpen it there, so the ratchet does work just right. Looks like possibly it wouldn't, but it does. So you can see I've got the ratchet adjusted. Everything's pretty close here. Some of these, as you come in, you may have to tug the blade back a little bit. That's what I usually do. If something's not exact, I just kind of pull the blade back. That does seem to do it. So, but I've got this one set up. I'm going to go ahead and just flip back around here. I always personally like to start out with kind of the wording on the blade up, so I can tell where I was at. Of course, in this case, I think I'll start right here for this one. So for that, of course, I'll just put a little X here to mark where we start off at, and then we'll walk all the way around this 50 tooth blade here. We'll see how long this takes to get this accomplished, but everything's set up and ready to go. So let me go ahead and turn this on. Let's get started. Looks like I need one more adjustment to get the blade actually in far enough. There we go. That's better. Just tighten back up these set collar over here on the side. So let's go ahead and do that one more time. Alright. And we move on to the next one. I'm going to stop this and do a little bit of additional setup work. Okay, I had just started my 50 blade sharpening. My 50 tooth blade here. I was going to sharpen it. But as I got started there, I wasn't happy with what I was seeing. You can see here that it wasn't catching the tooth properly. It was catching more of the inside of the tooth. It wasn't getting to the entire tooth. Just eyeing that, it looked like I had it set, but as you get started there, you need to double check to make sure that you're taking off the same fully across that tooth there. So I'm going to go back and do just a little bit more setup and make an adjustment there to make sure that we're getting a nice parallel sharpening of those teeth. So let me go back and do a little more setup, and I'll be back on this one. Okay, here on this 50 tooth, I went back to take a closer look at the setup. And I can tell here that part of the problem is I was trying to do all the adjustment here with the arm. If you try to do everything just by moving the arm and the blade without moving the molder, you may get close, but you may not get exactly where you need to be. So do remember, I had kind of forgotten this, you can actually move this motor as well. So for this case, I think what I need to do is to actually move the motor over some to actually then be able to come in and get the precise 90-degree angle that I need to get the tooth into the blade. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to move the motor, adjust the motor back and forth along with the arm. Make sure you do that as you switch. I did try the other day to put on my 40 tooth blade, which I have, which is this one here. Now this is a 40 tooth blade, and you can see that it's it's a slightly different layout for those 40 teeth there. So with that one, I couldn't even get it to where I wanted it. I forgot about being able to move the motor. So I'll go back, and when I do my 40 tooth, actually set that one up. I'll have to even move the motor again. But here I'm going to go ahead and move the motor for this 50 tooth, get set back up, and then I'll be back to sharpen it. Okay, I was able to move the motor over slightly, and that made a hell of a difference. Now I can tell by moving the motor over, that gave me the flexibility I need. I now can come in here and eyeball this thing, and I can just feel that blade going in. I can see that it's perpendicular to the cutting blade there, so I can really get this sharpened and get the 90-degree angle that I'm after. So that really makes the difference there. I mean, I got this now, so now I can tighten everything back down. One thing to note on this, it comes in handy here if you have a long Allen wrench here. 3 of them you can reach from the top, so you can come down through here and adjust 3 of them, loosen them, and be able to tighten them back up. The far one on this right hand corner, you can't get the long tool down in there, but if you're moving this motor over, you can go ahead and tighten it. Tighten up with your long Allen wrench here to tighten those 3 back down. Then you can use a shorter Allen wrench for the backside one. So just a thing to think about. So let me go ahead and get this set up, do the final adjustments here, tighten everything down, and then we can go ahead and get this blade sharpened. Okay, I went back and adjusted the setup a little bit. I haven't engaged my ratchet yet. I've moved the motor over some. I've come back in and adjusted this. I learned another trick here is that when you set this up, you really want to go ahead and possibly go for max possible to make sure when you get your alignment correct, so that you can then back out. I was adjusting there. I thought I had it good, but then I couldn't back out of the blade in order to turn the blade. So just something to watch for. Make sure that you don't adjust in too close, because you're not going to be able to back out. So, but let's go ahead and give this one a shot here. I just want to touch one tooth to make sure that we're getting the entire tooth here. Yep, I believe with that we are getting that entire surface of the tooth there. So this is good now. What I need to do now is just go ahead and re-engage. I need to re-engage my ratchet. Most likely that has completely changed. Oh yeah, since I was moving everything out, you can see that I'm completely in a different position than I was before. Ratchet's not even engaging the blade at all. So now I need to work on getting the ratchet back in place. So that'll be next here. I'll get that set up and then I'll be back. Okay, I'm back to actually sharpen this blade this time. I've got everything set up. I've got the ratchet set up to where I like it. It's coming in here nicely. You can see here that this was our first test cut. That looks nice and clean. So I'm going to go ahead and just, let's call that the first one. So I'll put a 0 there this time since I'd already used X elsewhere. So now I just know that that's the first one that I've already did. Ratchet is nice and set up. I'm going to go ahead and sharpen this blade, so let's see how long it takes to get through these 50 teeth here. This is the section where I didn't have the setup right the first time, so this should now clean these up. Oh, yes it is. And we're back and completed. So that did look a whole lot better. That got all 50 teeth there. I'll take this blade off here and do a final inspection, but I believe that completes the sharpening of my 50-tooth blade. Keep an eye out for my other videos out there. Thank you.